All praise to the Most High, Ahaya, and to his son, Yahayashah, Messiah. Alleluia. Allah Hayah. This is Brother Holly here with the first Spirit of Truth broadcast here on the AHAYAH'S channel, as well as the House of Ahaya channel, on this set apart Sabbath day. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to the great I am, he who is, was, and is to come, the Almighty One, Allah Hayah, and to his son, Yahayashah, Messiah, who gave himself for us that we might have life, and that life is in him, Allah Hayah. Now, if you notice, I don't use the term Alleluia any longer. For this week, the Most High just spoke to me as clearly as one of you would speak to me. And he said to me very simply and very directly, there's no wa in my name, there's no you in my name, and there's no wa or no you in my praise. I went, wow. So I went to my Paleo Hebrew dictionary and looked up praise, and the term is halal, and Hayah is his name. So halal, Hayah means all praises to the Most High. So from here on out, I will be correcting and cleaning up my speech, and I thank the Most High for putting a watch over my mouth to help me to keep my speech clean. I thank the Most High, and all praises unto him for bringing to my attention, and I brought it to your attention on several occasions, about not putting the names of these false deities in our mouth in accordance with Exodus chapter 23 verse 13. Y'all know that's one of Brother Holly's, for lack of a better term, pet peeves. But it's not my pet peeve, it's his law. So as long as I'm here and the Most High's kept me healthy and able to continue with this with these broadcasts, I will continue to try my best to provide you with the most accurate descriptions and the most accurate information from the scriptures. And by Ahai's help and by his Spirit's help, we will continue with that until his son return. Allah Hayah. We'll be reading from the Learn Paleo Hebrew Torah, Lashawan Kwadash, Holy Tongue, Yasha, Ahaya, Bible Scriptures. And what we're going to talk about today in the first broadcast is a very simple concept, I believe, to understand, but very pertinent concept to understand. Something we see being played out every day. The Most High's disgust with unrighteous judgment and the Most High's willingness to make unrighteous judgments or unbalanced weights just again. He does both. He's disgusted. He says an unbalanced weight, and we're going to see it in a little bit, is an abomination in his sight. But a just balance is his delight. So children, when you've been inappropriately dealt with in a judgment, be it in your job, in your home, in a courtroom, wherever it is, could be in a traffic stop. We're going to see where judicial discretion is something he can't stand either. How they can just, on their discretion, let you go or give you 10 years. He don't like stuff like that. It should be clear and concise. That's just. It's clear and concise. Everybody know what the penalties are. Everybody know what they are or are not going to receive. And it's not up to somebody's judgment. He wants that question of how things are going to be judged to be settled with all his people. So we're going to read from the Torah, we're going to read from Proverbs, and we're going to read from the prophets, and hopefully we'll see clearly that the judgment, if you've been the recipient of an unjust judgment, where you've used the power of the state or the power of man's law to extrapolate money or property or something of that nature from somebody, and they ain't resisting you, they ain't countersuing, they just taking the loss. Rest assured that what you have done has set you up in a place that we're going to read about here in a little bit, from the prophets. It sets you up in a place where you're going to be gathering and you ain't going to be able to enjoy none of it. You're going to be earning wages, getting settlements, but you're just going to be putting it in a bag with holes. And for those who have had these unjust judgments against them, rest assured that Ahayah, the great I am, he's going to make it so. He's going to make the balance again. For he said in his word, he'll perfect that which concerns you. AHAYAH. Turn with me to Leviticus chapter 19. Let's start reading at verse 35. Leviticus 19:35. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in medayard, in weight, or in measure. Just balances, just weights, a just ephah, a just yin shall ye have. I am Ahayah, your Alahayah, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. Verse 37, Leviticus 19:37. Therefore ye shall observe all my statutes and all my judgments and do them. I am Ahayah. Will you highlight? What kind of balances must we have? We, the children of the Most High. What kind of balances we got to have? A just one. See, our balances can't be like this. It can't be like that. We can't treat one another like that. And Ahayah's not going to allow it. For all that do so are an abomination in his sight. We're going to read it. And this teaching will be rather short, but I will try to give a few real life examples from my own life of how situations were made unjust and Ahayah made it just again. And it could take months, it could take years, but Ahayah's going to make it right. His reputation's on the line. I'll read it again. Leviticus 19:35. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in medayard, in weight, or in measure, just balances. How do you avoid being unrighteous in judgment? By having a just balance, just weights, a just ephod, and a just hin. Ye shall ye have. I am Ahayah, your Alahayah, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. Therefore, you shall observe all my statutes and all my judgments and do them. I am Ahayah. Now turn over to Proverbs chapter 11. Thank you for your patience. Proverbs chapter 11. We're going to read a few verses here. We're going to grab it in context. Proverbs chapter 11, starting at verse 1. A false balance is abomination to Ahayah, but a just weight is his delight. Will you highlight? That's kind of like an overarching rule when it comes to judgment. A false balance is an abomination to Ahayah, but a just weight is his delight. If judgment is like this, he's happy about it. He's good. But if judgment is like this, that's an abomination in his sight. He got to make that good. I've had judgments against me in my life, my career. And there's still some today that were like this. And the Most High is going to make them like this. I've seen him do it before, and I trust that he's good to his word. That he'll be delightsome. That he'll have his delight. He carries out his delight. He makes sure his delight is the way it is. Especially when it concerns his children. Back when I was on active duty, short story. Back when I was on active duty, I tested for promotion to E6. From E5 to E6. It's my first time. Very difficult to do during that time period when I was in the Air Force. I missed it by 4.9 points. I'll never forget it. And though I only missed it by a little bit, and I should have been very happy with that attempt, the reason I was unhappy is because on my annual performance report for that particular year, I did not receive the highest rating possible. Now, if that was just, then I shouldn't have a problem with it. But me not receiving that higher rating was unjust, and here's why. That same year, which I received the next lower rating than the top rating, which cost me around 15 points toward promotion. That year, I was NCO of the quarter, 2 quarters out of 4 for that year for my organization, and I was within my Air Force specialty, that person of the year for as far as for the people in my Air Force specialty for that organization. I competed against about 39 other people in my Air Force specialty, and I was the top one for that year. And my supervisor at the time put me in for all these awards. So he was aware of all these awards, all my accomplishments. He wrote the packages for me, and I competed and won. But in that same year, when it came time for my annual report, marked me down. And on the form that my report was on, it said when it came to the overall rating that I should be compared against other people in my grade and in my specialty. That's the rule for how to grade me. Okay, if that's the rule for this year, I was the top person in my specialty, in my grade, because I competed against all the other ones and won the annual reward. That's an easy one. But he marked me down. So when I got my test scores and found out I didn't make it by 4.9, I took all my trophies. I made an appointment to see him. He was a Chief Master Sergeant, high rank, E9, the highest ranking enlisted you can be in the Air Force. So I made an appointment to see the chief. I brought all my trophies with me, brought all my placards with me, and my annual report and my test scores. And I asked Chief during our one-on-one conference, I said, I don't understand. How can I be the NCO of the quarter twice and the person within my specialty for the year? How can I win all these trophies and not be the top rated person on my annual report? And by not being the top rated person, that cost me 15 points, and I didn't make promotion because I lost 15 points by you not rating me as I should have been rated, in my opinion. And he said, let me see your scorecard. He looked at it and he saw that I only missed it by 4.9. And he knew that I had lost, how many points I had lost because of him marking me down for whatever reason. And I said, I don't understand, Chief. Never forget, he stood up, dug his knuckles into the top of the table, leaned forward, looked at me all beady-eyed, and said, Sergeant, I call him like I see him. I gathered up everything, thanked him, and walked out. Now, other senior NCOs in my organization wanted me to press charges against him for bias, he's a racist, all kind of stuff they were saying. I said, no, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. So time passed. About 6 months later, I was out of that organization. More time passed. I moved on to another base. Made E6 at the next base. Went on again. PCS again. 7 years passed. I'm now an E7. I've made E7. I was kept from making E6 by him. 7 years later, I've already made E7. So I made E6 and now I've made E7. So I've progressed on. I'm working. I'm getting to the end, children. So thank you for your patience. I'm working in an office, and someone says to someone else in the office, "Did you hear what happened to Chief Blank?" I won't use his name. And I leaned back in my chair out of my cubicle and said his first name and blank. They said, "Yeah, you know him?" I said, "Yeah, he used to be my supervisor about 6, 7 years ago." They said, "You heard what happened to him?" I said, "No." What happened? They said, "Oh, it's terrible." I said, "What happened? Did he die?" They said, "No, worse." Now, what's worse than death? I'm thinking. They said, "Do you remember his wife, Miss Betty?" I said, "Yeah, a little bit short, pixie lady, Miss Betty, about 4'11". He said, "Well, Chief Blank retired." I did the math in my head. I said, "Okay, he should have been right at 30 years now, which is when chiefs can retire." He served out a full career. At his retirement ceremony, his wife of 30 years asked him for a divorce. She took his house, his children, and half of his military pension. I looked up that same hour what half of a 30-year Chief Master Sergeant pension would be. It was almost to the penny the same of what a 20-year E5 pension would be. He kept me an E5 for about another 13, 14 months, but the Most High kept him an E5 for the rest of his life. He called it like he saw it. He created this imbalance, this unjust balance. Most High said, no. I got to perfect that which concerns my child. I got to create that balance again. You kept my son an E5 for 16, 17 months. I'm going to keep you an E5 for the rest of your life. All praises. I'll read the scripture again. A false balance is abomination to Ohio, but a just weight is his delight. He delighted in that judgment. I delight in it too. The false balance. The false balance. The guy who won all the trophies, the best of the best, can't get the highest rating. When it says right there on the form, give them the highest rating if they're the best of the best. Nope. I'm calling like I see him. I do what I want to do. Okay. You don't get to walk away doing stuff like that. Why? Because the Most High doesn't delight in that. He delights in a just balance. He doesn't delight when it's unjust. I'll read it one more time. A false balance is abomination to Ohio, but a just weight is his delight. Turn over to Proverbs chapter 20. But before we get to 20, let's stop at 16. Proverbs 16, verse 11. A just weight and balance are AHAYAH'S. All the weights of the bag are his work. Will you highlight? Everybody talking about their bag today. All the works of the bag are his. He determined what you get in your bag. I'll read it again. A just weight and balance are AHAYAH'S. All the weights of the bag are his work. Will you highlight? He's the one who brings about justice. When metering out who gets what. He's the one that determines justice. If you, old man, or you, old woman, think that you can cause this in someone's life, and it's just going to be okay with everybody. As soon as Ahai see this, he's going to bring it back into balance. Why? I'll read it again. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 11. A just weight and balance are Ahayah's. All the weights of the bag are his work. He's already said he don't like an unjust balance. He don't like when justice is like this. He already said that's an abomination in sight. We know he don't have nothing to do with that. And if you are the recipient of an unjust balance, if an unjust balance was created and you're benefiting from it, we're going to read how that's going to cost you. We got one more scripture from Proverbs before we go forward. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 10 and verse 23. We're going to read verse 10 first. Proverbs 20 and 10. Different weights and diver measures, both of them are alike, abomination to Ahayah. This, remember, I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that I was going to mention how when people have judicial discretion, where they can apply the law or not apply the law, that's an abomination in Ahayah's sight. Here it is again. Different weights, diver weights, and diver measures. Both of them are alike, abomination to Ahayah. Oh, if you got different rules for this kind of person, and you got different rules for that kind of person, you're doing this in judgment. Ahayah wants it like this. Everybody is the same in his eyes when it comes to judgment. You can't have different rules. You can't let one person, because of who they are, who they may be attached to, walk or give them a little slap on the hand. And then the next person who doesn't have any authority, doesn't have any power, doesn't have any connection, you throw them in jail for the rest of their life. Same crime. No, that's an abomination in Ahayah's sight. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 23. Diver weights are an abomination unto Ahayah, and a false balance is not good. That ain't good. He gonna bring in the balance. He can't allow it. He can't allow this abomination to continue. So, if you're the recipient of a bad judgment, a false judgment, you know it. Even if you don't know it. If it's an unbalanced judgment, it's a bad one. It says right here, it ain't good. I'll read it again. Diver weights or having judicial discretion are an abomination unto Ahayah, and a false balance is not good. Ain't good. Ahayah looks at it as an abomination. It ain't good. He gonna make it so. He gonna bring justice. He ain't gonna allow the injustice to continue. There's a judgment against you when you taken things by fraud, when you gotten over, when an unbalanced judgment is putting money in your pocket. We're gonna see it in a moment. I'm gonna have one more little diatribe on how that worked, and we're gonna bring this to a close with the highest helping by his kind permission. Halal, Hayah. All right, Haggai, book of Haggai, right after Zephaniah. Book of Haggai, chapter 1. Let's start reading at verse 5. It says, now therefore, thus saith Ahai of hosts, consider your ways. Will you highlight? I got my highlight. I'm ready. As soon as this broadcast is over, I'm highlighting this. Haggai chapter 1, verse 5. Now therefore, thus saith Ahai of hosts, consider your ways. I can talk a whole hour on consider your ways. Back in my street preaching days, I said that to somebody before we went out there. Hey, consider your ways. He almost started crying. Most I just told me to tell him that. Consider your ways. He almost started crying. He blubbering. Consider your ways, children. I read it one more time. It's for somebody. Hope you're listening. Now therefore, thus saith AHAYAH'S, consider your ways. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes where you highlight. You got a judgment, an unjust judgment, where you're getting money from somebody on a routine, maybe a lump sum, maybe on a routine basis. You know who you are, who I'm talking about, in my case. So I tell you people, it's two of you out there right now who are given an unjust judgment from an unjust judge against my person. You know who you are. And these unjust judges, in their unjust ways, gave you money out of my pockets on a monthly basis, money you never earned. You didn't do one thing to earn that money. Not now, not then, not now, not ever. But you took it anyway. Why? Because a judge said you could. Well, if a judge said you could, then I guess it's all right. We just read it isn't. Because why? An unjust balance is not good. We just read it. And using judicial discretion is not good. We just read it. Now, you had your day in court, same as me. You could have said, oh, no, I don't want that money. I didn't earn that money. Brother Holly earned that money. I don't want it. I'm not. But you can take it if you want. No, don't want it. You would have been okay. The Most High would have smiled on you for that. Because why? That's just. But no, you said, oh, well, cough it up. How much? Cough it up. Let's read what's going to happen. Haggai chapter 1 verse 6. You have sown much and bring in little. Oh yeah, you getting money. But you get to keep it. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there's none warm. And he that earns wages to put it into a bag with holes. Will you highlight? So I tell you people who are benefiting from an unjust balance. Most I'm going to put this back into alignment. Here's what you can do. Here's how you can amend your ways. You know who you are. I am talking to two of you. There's two of you. I'm talking to both of you right now. Listen up. This is what you can do to amend your ways. To get the balance. Have a just balance. You can write a check for the amount that you receive and send it to me. You can do that. This is not a personal attack on you. I'm just trying to help you. What did it say what did it say in Haggai chapter 1 verse 5? I'll read it again. Now therefore thus saith AHAYAH'S, consider your ways. In verse 7, thus saith AHAYAH'S, consider your ways. Consider your ways. You're benefiting from an unjust balance. You're benefiting from an unjust ruling. Straighten it out. Until you do, you're going to earn wages. It's like but you just be putting it in a bag with holes in it. You'll gather, and you won't have enough. You'll drink, but you'll still be thirsty. You'll buy some clothes, but you'll still be cold. You'll look at your bank account and it'll never be growing. That's a shame. Why? Go back and look. Go back to those judgments. Not one, but two people just this last week who was like this. These two other people had an unjust balance concerning me, and I got on them both, and they both coughing the money back up. One was a contractor that I contracted out to do some work for me, and the work wasn't done. They were paid in advance, and they never did the work. And it got so bad I had to go get another contractor, have them do the work. And they did the work. I had to pay for that. So I paid for the same job twice. Now, Brother Hollywood, did you go to the judge and the law to get? Nope, I sure didn't. I moved on. I let it go and moved on. I let it go and moved on. I said, going forward, I won't use them anymore. I didn't go after them for the money. I really didn't. And it wasn't a little bit of money. It was north of $1,000. I just leave it at that. So, month and a half has gone by. They called me on Tuesday. Hey, we just want to say how sorry we are for how things went, and we just can't keep your money. We took your money in good faith. You gave it to us in good faith, and we didn't provide a timely service, yada, 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 yada. We're sending you the check for the entire amount to your house, expected in the next few days. All praises. I wasn't hounding these people. When I cut you off, I cut you off. I ain't got nothing else to do with you. Ask people about that. They'll tell you. When Brother Holly cut you off, I don't have nothing else to do with you. I cut them off. He took my money and ran. Okay. But no, they called. They sent their money back. Boy, the Most High was troubling them. They even said that the Most High was troubling. They said, we just felt so bad, we just couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, wow, the Most High troubled y'all. I said to myself. And another contractor, I paid for products. They never delivered them. A year and a half went by. Never delivered. I was emailing them, calling them, emailing them, contacting them. They were always promising, yep, we'll get it to you. We'll get it to you. We'll get it to you. Then I started asking my money back. Well, we can't give you the money back. It's been too long. We're going to get you the products. We promise. And I just gave up. And this was just south of $4,000. Bought some equipment. And they never delivered it. Supposed to fabricate it and deliver it. Never happened. I gave up. That's about 6 months of hounding them. I gave up. That was almost 2 years ago now. I got a letter from a lawyer saying that they're being sued in bankruptcy, and that I will be receiving forms in the coming days that I can fill out for restitution. All praises. I didn't have to hound them. I didn't have to get the law on them. No, that could have cost me money. I get my money back now without having to dole out anything more. All praises. Both of these situations, it was an imbalance. Most High said, no, I can't let it go. Nope, can't let it go. If you hold on to that which you have ill-gotten, which you got through an unbalanced judgment, through a diver kind of judgment, to a misappropriation of that which is right in a higher sight, He gonna judge you by wrecking you. You're gonna eat, but you're gonna still be hungry. You're going to drink, you're still going to be thirsty. You're going to clothe yourself, you're still going to be cold. And if you earn wages, you just put them in a bag with holes in them. That's your judgment. Until you make it right. Nobody gets away. You got to make it right. What is the Most High going to do with his people in the meantime? We talked about it last week. After you've gone through some suffering, you're going to your wealthy place. I got money coming now. Woo! And the week prior to that, I received even more money. All praises to the Most High for it. I don't even have to hound people. He's doing all that. He's the avenger, man. I'm not the avenger. Vengeance here, he'll repay. That's right. He sure will repay. He will repay you. He will take vengeance on your adversaries, and he will repay you that which they've stolen. So I say it again to those two people out there like this against this one brother. Write those checks. Send them to me. Every month you get the money, just send it back to me. And the Most High will bless you. And he'll take that curse off you. Or, if not, enjoy your rebukes. All praise to the Most High, AHAYAH, and to his son, AHAYAH'S. Allah, Hayah.